All right, welcome in everybody. We got an exciting show today. As always, we'll be doing some giveaways after we get 50 likes. So remember to like the YouTube channel, subscribe, whatever you want to do on that. So today we have Eli with us, and he's actually a trader that literally just passed our assessment. We looked at his performance and we decided, like, hey, his performance looks great. His wrist looks great. He's a scalper, but he scalps something really, really different than what most people scalp. He scalps corn, and so we kind of nicknamed him the Corn Trader. So we thought, let's have him on the show. I think it's super interesting. I'm excited to hear about like what he does with corn because it's not talked about, and I guess it kind of makes sense when he kind of broke it down for me. So we'll get into that a little bit later, but as always, we'll give a little bit of time for people to start rolling in. And we're going to do 50 likes. We'll do some giveaways. We'll probably let's do 3 giveaways today. Those will happen kind of towards the end of the show. So make sure you stick around, listen for, I guess, the giveaway opportunity. And then also stick around for Eli because he's got some interesting stuff to show. And it's not just hypothetical stuff. It's actually stuff that helped him pass his account. So I know he uses Sierra chart and I know he uses order flow. So stick around. It's going to be a good show. All right. 5 giveaways. No, we're not going to do 5, but we'll do 3. I think that's a good giveaway. Okay. So enough rambling on my half. Let's go ahead and jump in. As I said, we have Eli here. So Eli, tell us a little bit about where you started, how long ago you started. Did you have to juggle jobs in between? And then how did you stumble upon where you're at now? So let's kick it off. How long you been trading, man?
Yeah, well, I've kind of been in and around the markets for a while, just more as like investor, not trader. So did that for a lot of years, but then kind of got into trading, like day trading, about a year and a half ago, and started kind of the same journey that I think a lot of people start with ES, and kind of got into futures, candlestick charts, kind of things like that. A lot of stuff that was good basics, but kind of didn't really yield any of the results that I was kind of looking for. So kind of stumbled my way through a lot of that for a while, and then kind of got introduced to order flow and started kind of looking into that. John Grady is the guy who I think a lot of people hear about first. So started with that, but didn't really have anything current. So then found a great Discord called Mr. Order Flow Discord, which you should check out if you want some more information. Great one there. Ton of guys there that trade in today's market environment with order flow. So got to learn there. The guy that runs it's a great guy. Lots of good information there. And kind of was able to, through some just like chatting with different traders and different coaching, things like that, be able to pick up some different tricks about order flow. Was mostly trading treasuries to start. That's kind of the big order flow dom trading on the ladder. And then with the recent market volatility, treasuries are really difficult to scalp at the moment, really, really hard. And so switched over to corn. It's a much cleaner market just with the current volatility. So we've been trading that for a couple months now, which has been nice. And very, like, it took a little bit to switch over, like getting used to corn and all of that, very different. But once you kind of get used to the flows and stuff like that, it was a pretty easy switch over. So yeah, my basic kind of the quick rundown of what I do is use order flow on a ladder or a DOM, depth of market, depending on what you want to call it. Basically just has the limits and the inside prints with the market orders and how those interact, which is how price moves in the market. So I don't use any charts or any like candlestick charts or anything like that. It's all just a ladder and you watch price kind of go up and down. And then I've got a couple different months in corn out for that. And I use options flows to basically kind of figure out where the volatility is going to be for the day. And then once you kind of have an idea where volatility is, you're able to kind of know what type of day you're going to have, whether it's going to be like a really tight range and scalping, or whether it's going to be more of a trend day. And corn pretty much always is in one of those two camps. It's either a positive gamma environment and you're going to be going nowhere real fast, or a negative gamma environment and you'll be kind of smashing through options levels, things like that. And so that's kind of the general overview of what I do. And yeah, so was super glad when I found TFD, because one of the great things about working with you guys is just the cheaper commissions for both scalping in general, but also with corn, it's just a really expensive market to trade for retail. So super nice that you can actually get access to that through you guys, which is awesome. So thank you for that.
Exciting to have you on board now.
Thanks for having me.
So is there a way for you to share like maybe what you're looking at on the DOM? Are you willing to share that? Like maybe pull up your Sierra chart or something. Maybe we'll give you a second to look that up. Let's see if we have any questions so far while he pulls up that. I think, yeah, he said he's not really using charts. He's just looking at ZC and he uses Sierra chart for that. So it'd be cool just to see it. Maybe he could give a quick rundown, and then that helps with people understanding actually what he's doing. And as I said, this isn't some make-believe thing that isn't real. He's passed an assessment. We're going to share his stats in a little bit, and he's going to go trade in a live account. So this is really good information for people to hear. There's value here, and we're all about trying to add value for people. So that's his assessment. As you can see, it's pretty steady, nice clean graph, no crazy up and downs. That's what we're looking for in performance, right? We don't want those big boom and bust traders. We want this clean, steady growth. It's okay to lose. Just don't be, swinging for the fences on every single trade like most people try to do. It's too tough. All right, what else? How do we enter the giveaway? So once we get 50 likes, which we might have, we'll open up the giveaway. And once we open up the giveaway, it's pretty straightforward. Cool. And were you able to bring up Sierra chart? And if so,
let me try to get that going here.
And if not, that's fine. I just know people would like to see actually what you're looking at. It's hard to visualize when you're just saying, oh, I look at this and this. Hopefully it doesn't mess up all your charts. I know Sierra can be a little bit a difficult struggle for some, but I love it.
Yeah. Let me get that going here.
Cool. So let's field some more questions as he's getting his Sierra chart pulled up, and really appreciate him sharing that with us because I know we kind of put him on the spot on that one. But anybody have any questions outside of that? We'll get into it as soon as he starts sharing about like the settings and DOM and what he's looking for. Market by order. Do you find that any useful at all?
Yeah, MBO data is huge for corn. So yeah, I use that a lot. You'll see, especially just with the large institutions and what they're trading, corn is such like a need-based market where there's no cash market for corn, so it's just futures and options. And then the like cash market would basically just be what farmer is selling to what buyer essentially. And so the CME group takes kind of this really center stage for how corn operates with delivery. They actually offer even the ability to navigate storage for across the different contract months, which is really cool. So with that, you can definitely get a lot out of MBO. So if you can see, is the chart up? I think it is now.
Yeah, it is. You're sharing it.
Yeah. So
what are we looking at
MBO
here?
Data here. So if you've never like seen a depth of market DOM before, basically, I've got kind of two charts, one on the left and one on the right. And on the left, you've got your limits. These are basically people looking to buy over here and then sell over here. And they're kind of waiting, resting liquidity. So those are your limit orders. And then inside prints here, those are going to be market orders. Those are people that are lifting into the offer or hitting into the bid. And that action is basically how price moves up and down. So you can kind of see where right now this is live.
A lot more liquidity than I thought in corn.
Yeah, corn is pretty liquid, which is nice.
That's
I mean,
crazy.
I only trade liquid markets, so treasuries or corn. But yeah, there's a lot of liquidity there, which is nice. It's K algo. Yeah. So it's K algo driven, which essentially means it's not just whoever's first waiting in line. There's also the people with a larger size order gets filled first. You can kind of look into that more, but that also helps for the like smaller traders because it sometimes allows you to get better fills than markets that are just first come first serve type of a deal.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so that's nice. And then use Mentor Q as well. They're a great platform for getting options data. They just get end of day data for corn. And so you're able to kind of see different things volatility wise. So for me, if we're like in a positive gamma environment, it's going to be scalping all day long. Last couple of weeks, we've been negative gamma. So corn's been really moving pretty quick. So So yeah,
And could you
looking
tell
at,
us what positive gamma and negative gamma mean? Like, I
yeah,
don't, I kind of understand options, but I don't. So if you could like share that with the people as
yeah,
an education type thing, what
for
does it
sure.
mean?
Yeah, so essentially in options, somebody goes in and they can either buy a call or buy a put, and that would be the person that's taking like the directional risk. And then the market makers in general, it can be other people, but generally it's market makers are selling those contracts. So unlike in futures where you can buy or sell, you technically to go long buy a call, to go short you buy a put. And what that means is that means the market makers taking the other side of it, and what they get out of it is they get premium, and so they're essentially selling these options to collect premium, but their goal is to remain delta neutral, which is kind of confusing because delta can mean lots of different things in the markets.
Yeah.
In this case, it basically means that they don't want directional risk at all. They want to be like even. If the market goes up or down, they don't care. They're hedged either way to be basically even. And so what that means is that you can kind of calculate whether or not they're going to be adding liquidity if we go up the way, or if they're going to be providing like fuel to the fire, basically. So in a positive gamma environment, what's essentially happened is all the market makers have to provide more liquidity, and negative, they have to add to the fire. Because it's kind of confusing to think about, but if you have bought a call from a market maker, they're short options, which means that they go into futures and they buy it. So it essentially kind of becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy within options where it really controls the flows, how much liquidity is there, and whether or not you're going to be really cutting through prices or not. So like today we're in a negative gamma environment, which is from up here, we've got HVL, which basically signals that. And we've worked our way away from HVL, and the farther and farther we got, the more and more that market makers were adding fuel to the fire, essentially, as we went down.
This is drastically different than other approaches I've seen. And it's
Yeah,
funny because like I would never think corn would have liquidity to be able to trade like this. And I just
yeah,
never looked at it. I'm like, there can't be that much trading in corn. And it's
yeah.
like, no. There's a lot of
Yeah, it's
liquidity.
wild.
Not only that, but you've discovered an edge because of the way corn trades and because of the way the options work. That provides you a framework. And once you can have a consistent framework every day, that's how you develop an edge. So I commend you on that. That's amazing.
Thank you. Appreciate
and
it. Yeah.
I really appreciate you sharing this because a lot of people probably wouldn't share this. However, everybody's different, and what you do may not work for other people. And that's the thing people need to realize is like one strategy is not always going to work. Right. And it may not work for Bill, Joe, or Ben or whatever. Right. But it will work for me. So that's important as well. But thank you for sharing. This is super, super insightful. As far as, so those are the market by orders. I see those broken up, and then you have the other levels. How do you derive the other levels, like where you have zero, I think DTE, which is a option thing? How are you finding those levels? And that's
so
the website?
You can calculate that yourself, but that's way too much work. So I just use MentorQ. So if you look them up, and actually there's a deal. If you go to, like I said, the group I'm a part of, Mr. Orderflow Discord, if you go there, they've got some discount codes for them too, which is really nice. So
nice.
Highly recommend checking that out. But they're a service, and they integrate into a lot of platforms right into it. So updates every day for me automatically, which is nice through an API. So they draw out those levels, because with options, it's not just buying and selling. There's a lot of Greeks that are involved. You've got time decay and gamma, all sorts of stuff that they have to calculate. And so this is calculating all of that for you, basically, which is nice. And then you can also use Quick Strike, and they've got the tool through the CME group, which you can then track the open interest change from day to day, which is really nice. So between the two of those, you can kind of see different levels. So kind of the things MentorQ gives is they give the GEX levels, which are basically just going to be high areas of open interest and gamma there. So there's going to be either resistance, support, depending on kind of how your structure is going to be. Those are going to be kind of different levels where market makers are going to have to do something. They're forced, their hand is forced. They have to do something to either add fuel to the fire or to limit us from whatever we're doing. And then, so HVL, zero DTE. Like if you trade ES or things like that, zero DTE options are like super, super important. In fact, you'd have to go probably a little bit more in depth in options with zero DTE, just because they have true zero DTE options. In corn, the zero DTE options are just going to be ones that are expiring that day, but they don't actually have daily options. They have weekly and monthly options. So for ES, a lot of the option flows are 0 DTE, but for corn, you've got more monthly, weekly flows, so it changes a little bit slower than ES. But for this basically means this is where they're exposed at for today, like whatever's expiring today. And so as you get closer to expiration, that matters a lot more, and it depends on how much gamma is actually expiring for that day as well. Which you can see all that on MentorQ. So it's a great site. It's really nice.
Super interesting. So if anybody wanted to learn more about this, would they just join that Discord room? And maybe if you could provide the Discord room, you can actually put it in chat. Because I think that's a super, like, look, we're all for helping traders. And I think finding a room where there's actual edge there and then there's good traders there is half the battle. Yeah. And if you guys are an open type of Discord and you're sharing and everybody's learning together, I think it's a great resource for everyone. So super excited to share that with people. Cool, man. So use Sierra chart. I'm sure it's a love-hate relationship at times. Yes, it is a beast, but I absolutely love Sierra chart. Cool. So let's kind of get into the other things. Let's get into maybe some questions that people might have for you. And then I'm pretty sure we're at 60 likes. So we'll probably, or 50 or whatever it was, we'll probably go ahead and do the giveaway soon and then let people ask some more questions. All right, let's talk about, before we get into the questions actually, what was the biggest struggle you had with trading so far? Is it like, and I mean by psychology wise, like, what is it? What's your bad trait? Because everybody kind of has one. Like me, for instance, I can go on tilt, and when I go on tilt, I lose my mind. So I've put things in place as a measure to like counteract that, so I don't tilt before it becomes a problem. So what's your bad thing that you do, and how have you improved yourself in that area?
Yeah, I would say, for one, I think for me, a lot of like the psychology, I think a lot of the market participants focus on that a lot. And there's definitely a huge piece of that, but a lot of it is just simple things like just, you know, when to walk away, don't be greedy, things like that. I feel like for me, the big edge was realizing actually that it wasn't through psychology that I was gonna figure this out, but it was actually through market mechanics and tracking money flows. Like if I summed up my entire strategy, it would be that firms and like large institutions are moving the market, and you have to be an expert at what they're doing and learn as much as you can. And I'm still learning all the time, like what they're doing. It's constantly changing. They're doing all sorts of stuff. So just being like humble to be able to like learn constantly is probably really important, and adapt. Like the market's constantly changing, and all the time you see people that, you know, I think sometimes it's easy to say, oh, I'm losing because the market is doing this or that, or I'm losing because my psychology's off. But it could be things like market regime changes. You know, is the VIX really high? Are we spiking up on that? Like there's things that are happening that you have to adapt to. So for me, I think the psychology thing, it's always a battle. Like you're always kind of still wrestling with the things like that. You know, like, am I truly reading the flows right? Am I staying focused? You know, things like that. Like for me, sometimes I get distracted and bored. I look away, then I look back. And with this type of trading, order flow, like you have to be watching like every order that's coming through type of a deal. In general, it like aggregates it a little bit, but you need to be paying attention. And then, you know, you look back and you're like, oh, let me buy right here, you know, and you don't really have an idea for a trade. It's just more you want to buy type of a deal. So avoiding things like that you hear a lot of people talk about are really important. And then I think just really diving into this being like a true finance career. And it's really hard to find information out there. Like, I can't say that enough. Like there's a lot of people with a lot of different strategies and a lot of different stuff, and it's hard to delineate what's real and what's not, and what really gives long-term edge and things like that. So yeah, that's kind of my answer there.
Awesome. And then as a scalper, how do you find like a certain time period, like let's say after 2 or 3 hours, you're just mentally exhausted because you're so hyper focused on order flow? Like, is there a cutoff for you? Like, do you stop trading at a certain time, or like, can you share a little bit about that? Because I don't think people realize, like, look, if you're scalping and you're looking at order flow to scalp, you're literally hyper focused. You're not looking, you're so focused on the order flow, every little tick. it's
Yeah.
very mentally exhausting. So you need to build in some type of like boundary to be like, hey, I need to be done at like 12 or else I'm no good because I'm too tired. So do you have something like that in place?
Yeah, I think, if you're feeling tired and stuff, it's definitely a good thing to take a break. I think sometimes I'm not the best at walking away when I need to, even with that. But I think some of it too is more just time of day, knowing how the market changed throughout the time of day. Like pretty much every market has this. It's like morning, you're gonna open up, there's gonna be a lot of volatility. It kind of moves, does something, then you get to lunch, it'll kind of slow down, and then you maybe get a little bit more an hour after lunch, and then wraps up by close. For corn, one thing that's interesting about corn is its hours are different than every other futures market. So you actually it opens up. I'm in Eastern Standard Time, so it's like 8 p.m. is when it opens up.
Oh, wow.
And then so it's later than all the rest of them. And then it closes again for like what would be my breakfast at like 8:50 a.m. and then reopens again at 9:30. So they have like literally a built-in breakfast, which is funny. And then so they're back open at 9:30 a.m. and then they go to 2:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So they close early again. So really limited hours compared to the other futures markets. And so you'll find that affects the flows a lot. Like for me, it's very much in the morning. It's directional trading. It's going to be if we're in a negative gamma environment, trying to figure out what options level we're going to trade to and whether we're going to break through that or not. And then typically, if it's really negative gamma environment, like you're kind of better off just taking it easy the rest of the day, maybe find a fade later on. If you're in positive gamma environment, then I'm kind of glued to the screen and scalping the whole day, and I'll be exhausted and grumpy at the end of the day. So kind of depends. Yeah.
Have you ever taken delivery of corn?
No, I have not.
Could you imagine that? Them showing, okay, wild. We want to deliver it. You got to pay the full amount. Where do you want it?
Yes,
and
exactly.
Said they make, I think, alcohol or something. So they were all like, I want to take delivery.
Yeah,
that would be interesting.
That would be. And that's one of the reasons I think the market just trades so well is that there's a lot more people taking delivery of this product than there is other products, which is great. Yeah. Also, side note, I did see the guy in the Discord that we've been mentioning is here, so he might be able to drop the link if he can.
Mr. Order Flow? Yeah. So is that the guy that runs the room then?
Yes, great guy. Knows way more than I do even, so filter all your questions through him. He's awesome. So learned a ton from him. So he's great.
If we can get that link, Raj, and maybe post it in YouTube, then we can post it in our room as well. I'm all for providing, traders an option for actual legitimate, proven edge type of stuff where like they know they're not just wasting their time. And it's really important to find that. And then once you find that, it helps you turn the corner and really understand, trading and how to find success in it when you surround yourself with other successful traders. So yeah. Great option.
Great. Yeah, there's lots of ways to go through this journey. Like we've got different people trading different stuff in that group, which is great. But yeah, it's all order flow based, tracking money flows, and that's kind of, in my opinion, that's the key to the market and learning how to day trade is just watching flows for sure. Seeing just a lot more people make it doing that than I have through other techniques and things like that.
All right, cool guys. So we just posted the link. It is in YouTube, so please make sure you visit it. We'll also put it in our Discord as well, the link to their Discord. Let's do some questions. After the questions, we'll go ahead and do the giveaway, I think, and try to get some questions out for Eli, like specific to him. If you guys have any questions about what he's doing, how he looks at stuff, or how you can learn how to do what he does, ask those questions, and maybe we'll get those answered for you today. All right. Yeah, so I am really struggling with risk management. Right. Okay, so basically, look, 2% of risk on a $2,000 drawdown. Yeah, it's not going to work, right? The thing with most futures traders, what they're doing is they're using too much leverage, and then they're taking too much risk. So if they have an account, let's say it's $2,000 drawdown, they're literally going to risk $1,000 per day, right? That means they're going to blow their account in 2 days. That's not the way you should be looking at risk. So if you have a $2,000 account, I know you can't use 2%. That's not a realistic number, but you want to work backwards from what your hit rate is, basically your win rate, right? So if you have like a 50% win rate, understand that 50% doesn't always mean it's 50%, right? Flip a coin 100 times and you're going to see some nuances in flipping it, maybe 5 heads in a row, right? That it's still 50% over a longer set of numbers. So understand that. And when working with risk, understand that you need like 10 days roughly of risk in most cases, depending on your win rate. So work backwards from there. So if you have a $1,000 drawdown, then I would probably say try to risk about $100 per day if you can, which means trading micros. Like you need to basically survive until you can thrive. And I always tell people like risk down. It's not about making the money right now. It's about learning and improving your system, building up the confidence. And once you're done, building the foundation, then you can start tuning and then you can start scaling and then everything scales and moves and grows bigger. But until you have a good foundation, you're going to get lost. So don't get lost. Start with risk first, keep small size, think about risk first, and then go from there. Because that's how you're going to survive in the market. If you risk too much or use too much margin, you're going to blow up every single time. We see it way too often. So think about risk first. Next question. Would you mind sharing that?
Yeah. Entry exit psychology. So I'd say, it falls into basically one of two camps for me. I'm either scalping for literally like one tick in positive gamma environments, in which case it's an OCO order. And so you're like really paid, glued into the best bid, best offer, and really making sure that it doesn't, you're not going to get blown through. I don't necessarily set like a set OCO stop all the time. Like I have one on, it just depends on the environment, where we're at, how much room you need to give that trade. But most of those trades, like I'm looking to get in, like in on the offer, out on the bid without any drawdown type of deal for the one tick scalps. And it's a bad trade if it goes against me most of the time. Now, if you took every single stop that went against you, you get a million paper cuts in scalping, so it wouldn't work. So that's kind of one side of the coin. If we're in negative gamma environment and then trading more directionally, like today, for example, took a trade this morning and was right at the options level, kind of went short, scaled in one contract, and then it was kind of building up momentum. So another one, basically 2 ticks later, and then I rode that. There's no exit order in play. I'm watching the flows. So I have an emergency stop way above that is basically just in case like something drastic happens. But I would never, realistically, I shouldn't hit that, like, or I would drag it down. And then kind of was offering, got filled, worked our way down. And then once we started getting some large absorption, we were kind of reaching a cluster of like 0 DTE HVL, previous day low, some other things that were there. And just the bid started absorbing a lot. That was my exit there. So then I literally click an exit order there. So when I'm kind of flow trading directionally, it's going to be click in, click out. When you're scalping, it's all OCO order, where it basically places a bracket for you.
Cool. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, that is a great question. That is like my favorite thing about switching to corn from treasuries is like, if you've been trading lately, it's wild right now. Like we just have just things coming out all the time that you can't account for, and the market's gonna just dump or pump or whatever. And corn doesn't flinch for a lot of that. So there is news in corn, but it's completely not really geopolitical related most of the time. I will say the only thing right now is tariffs on China. China is a huge buyer of corn, so anything related to that will affect it. But outside of that, you get corn reports. A lot of them come out like before corn officially opens or after the close. And so there's kind of 2 websites. You can use Econ to get some of the data, which is like a Metastock website as well. So that has some of the data points for exporting corn, things like that. And then there's an agriculture site that like the government runs that has corn data as well, and when the reports come out. I would love to say that I'm smart enough to understand what all of those reports mean, but I really am not, and I just feed it to AI and it summarizes it for you, which is a great way to do it. Because those reports, they're really long, like big PDFs, lots of like, how many acres of corn did Iowa plant and things like that. And it's a lot of data. So it'll kind of spit out what that ends up meaning, but I don't directly trade the news with corn anyways. So I'll be flat when any of those news events happen, kind of figure out what happened, and then let it dictate what I'll do after that. But yeah, it's It's a lot of data driven. It just doesn't happen as often, very infrequent when the data comes out. So that's nice.
Awesome. All right. Let's see. What else? What other questions do we have? I think Raj. What else we got, Raj?
Yeah, my personal opinion is with indices and all of that. I would never trade them personally, but if I had to trade them, I wouldn't touch them without options data. That's like the only people I know who trade indices well and are profitable over the long term. They are really good at options. They use there's different sites for indices that have like live options data that updates. Spot Gamma and like Gex Spot, I think, are a couple of them. I've never used them personally, but it's essentially the same thing as MentorQ, but you probably can't get away with end of day levels as much with ES. You'd want live options data for those for sure. But then, yeah, keep an eye on the VIX because you are kind of a slave to the VIX. It changes a lot with ES because you can have different environment changes within the same day, and it can flip back and forth and all sorts of craziness there, especially just because like ES, NQ, all of that are just a melting pot of different ETFs. You've got the SPX, you've got futures, you've got options, volume across all sorts of different things to keep track of. So it's a hard game. So kudos to anybody that's playing that game for sure. It's difficult. Yeah, seasonality affects it. What's great about it is there's volume on all of the months. So like right now, if you looked at the screen that I had up earlier, I'm trading the current month, which is N. So that's where the most volume is going to be. Flows are going to be there. But then you can trade like December, which is Z, and that's going to be much more scalpable. So like on the right side, if I'm looking to scalp, you can see it right here. I mean the range today, this is volume profile, and this is delta for each level. So the gray is going to be our range. So you can see we've had very tight range, a little less volume, but still enough volume. So this is very much scalper one tick friendly. But over on the left here, you've got just a massive day that we've gone close to 50 ticks on the day. So different months are going to have different things. And obviously, once you start getting into summer, when corn starts planting and they start ripping it out of the ground and things like that start happening, the seasonality affects it for sure. The different reports start increasing the volatility, different things like that. And then you get into winter and it just gets very slow across different months for sure. So definitely affects it. Biofuel EVs, maybe to answer that last one, but yeah. Weather forecast, yeah. So the weather stuff comes into those reports that you can analyze. And so yeah, if a big weather report happens and that's going to affect corn, it will affect the price of corn for sure. So you definitely have to be aware of it. But if you're asking like daily weather analysis, I don't look at that. So it's more long term. Are they having a drought or some place where they make corn? And typically you'll just see that in like the news headline for corn or something like that type of a deal. But yeah. Yeah, there's you can trade other agriculture products. They're not as liquid. So corn's got the most liquidity, and what I mean by that is like if you look here, like we're getting to the end of the day, so there's a lot here, but you've got like 1,000 on this side and like a couple hundred on this side. So you pretty much always have a couple hundred on the best bid, best offer, which is great for liquidity. And even all the way on Z, you still got liquidity. If you pull up like soybeans or wheat or anything like that, typically they're correlated, but tariffs have kind of broken down that correlation as of late. But they are tradable. They're just a lot thinner. So you have to be kind of mindful that they'll sweep more and the flows are harder to read on a DOM. So I'll trade corn over those, but they definitely are tradable.
Well, you have definitely hit us with a wealth of knowledge today, so we greatly appreciate that.
Yeah,
let's go ahead and do the giveaway now. I know people are getting anxious for that. And then after the giveaway, we'll do some follow-up questions, and I think we can wrap it up there. And if you guys are interested to learn more, I would highly recommend joining their Discord room and learn from the guys, that are in there, guys and gals, I'm sure. Yeah, we could share some of the stuff like the socials and stuff like that. to bridge the gap and give you guys access. Cool. All right, Raj, you ready? Go ahead and do the giveaway.
Yeah, I'm just putting the names on the wheel so you can answer a few more questions.
Okay, cool. What other questions do we have, guys? Let's see. Somebody have any other questions they want to throw out? And if not, I don't see any other questions. So Eli, as far as your chart book that you're using, your DOM setup, do you share your chart book, or is that like proprietary to you, or?
I can definitely share some of it. Some of it I have custom code, but if somebody messages me on Discord, I can probably get them set up on it. Yeah, so definitely send me a message and I can help you out with that. It takes forever in Sierra. And there's lots of ways you can set it up. The way I have it is a little weird because I stack some windows to basically allow me to put 2 months side by side. But yeah, I can definitely share that with somebody if they message me on Discord and need some help with the chart books. But learning Sierra takes forever. So good luck, but it's really worth it because it's a really powerful tool.
It's so good. It's amazing, but it's a love-hate, and like learning it is just like you want to. Why is this setting here and not here? Correct. And you're like, and they're like, where was that setting again? I know I can change it, but I don't remember where. And then once you set up once, you're like, I never want to touch this thing again.
Exactly.
It just works. Yeah, but it's amazing. The data that they have, Denali data is just like, love it.
Good.
Never have issues with it. It's super cheap. It just works.
Yeah.
And then their order routing, like everything about it is amazing, other than having to pay for it. Because you're like, okay, so I have to add money into the website, and then the website, you're like, dude, this is like 1990s stuff, man. It's crazy.
It really does. It's amazing once you get it set up. It's awesome. So yeah, if you haven't used Sierra and then you're going to use it, what you open up and get will look nothing like this. Absolutely useless if you open up a DOM, because it just is basically limits. So lots of customization has to go into that, that group that I'm a part of, the guy that runs it's got some YouTube videos on that too, which is nice. So and there's other ones online too with Sierra stuff, and their forums are good. Forum that you can look up, but don't ask a question unless you want to be insulted, because they will insult you on the forum.
Wait. You should know. Look at that.
Yeah, exactly.
Where it is, just go right there and look. It's like, I already looked. I don't get it. Can you help me? And he's like, no,
we can't.
Go look. It's right here. Like, oh man, it's so tough, but it's the best. I mean, for me, anyways. But
there's light on resources, which is really nice.
Oh my gosh, that is a lot of names on that list. It looks crazy. All right, so Eli, you can butcher the names today. I would greatly appreciate that.
Yay.
Spin. And the winner is... butcher it. Have fun.
Ayub Hasabuni. I'm sorry.
Congratulations. I'm sorry if we butchered it, but congrats. If you won before, remember, guys, you can't win again. It's not fair to the people that haven't won yet. So just keep that in mind. We will, if you have won in the last 90 days, we're just going to pick somebody else at random. So just keep that in mind. Okay, next spin. Let's do it, Raj.
Eric Lavare.
Nice. Eric, congrats. Oh, who's this Josh guy?
Hey guys, just hopping in. I'm thinking you're giving away the 3 full accounts. Let's give away 5 practice accounts.
Okay, yeah, we could do that.
Let's do that too.
Josh, wait. Josh Allen? Josh Allen, you can't be the real Josh Allen, right? If you are, you can have all the free accounts you want.
Who's that?
Josh Allen. Oh my gosh, Josh Allen.
Football.
But yeah, Buffalo Bills football. If it's really you, Josh Allen, reach out, man. I'll hook it up.
Either way, you won, so reach out.
Yeah, congrats. We'll reach out. All right, so let's do 5 practice accounts. And since Josh came in and wants to go ahead and do that, he can read off all the names. Have fun butchering the next 5 people. So these are practice accounts. Understand that. Practice accounts. They're not full accounts, but it does give you the ability to trade with us, forward test, collect data, and develop an edge. So,
Abdullah Rashid.
congrats. Look out for an email. All right, next one.
Juan Escobar.
Congrats,
Come on down.
congrats.
Lacan Smith.
How many accounts is that so far? How many
Raj.
practice accounts?
Raj isn't gonna stop spinning.
Yeah, it just keeps spinning.
Raj can't stop spinning. I guess we just keep going. No, we'll do 5. Scalperfy, I like it. That's your given name.
That person's in the Discord. Nice. I know them. Fellow order flow trader.
Nice.
Aaron Morales. Feel like that was 5. All right, cool.
All right, cool. Just as a reminder, we do have our little sale running. It's the largest we ever had. Additionally, we just changed our rule for the benefit of the trader. I know it's kind of odd to hear that we actually changed the rule to help traders versus most companies generally change rules to hurt traders, but we did the different thing and actually made it better. We love feedback. So if you guys have feedback for us, if you want to see us add different features, we're always open to feedback. We're always trying to improve. We're always trying to get better. So please reach out, let us know, and we'll do our best to get it implemented, whatever it is. Okay, cool. So I know the show didn't run a full hour, but we don't want to keep everybody all day. And I think we got most everything answered. Do we have any other questions for Eli? I think we can share those links again, at least for the Discord, just in case somebody missed them last time. And then we'll also put those in our Discord so people can see them there.
I guess somebody asked about NQ and trading with the DOM. There's like no liquidity there for NQ. So if you ever pull it up and look at that, there's like, I mean, sometimes it'll skip a couple prices without a resting order there. So tick compression is probably the only way you can pull that off with using a DOM to trade. So that's kind of your answer for NQ there. But yeah.
All right, cool. Here's the link again for anybody that missed it last time. I just want to thank Eli for coming on and
Thanks for having me.
shared amazing insight, amazing knowledge. It's not something that most traders have ever been exposed to. It's a different way to look at the market, and it's great to hear different insight and different views of the market and understand what's working for different people, because maybe you'll find that it works really great for you.
Yeah.
That's
Lots
what
of
we're trying
different
to
ways
do
to
is
trade.
just help people out and help them figure out what works for them. And then once they do, we get them funded. And as I said, Eli skipped. So basically he passed the assessment. We know he's going to pass the buffer period. So we just skipped him straight to the brokerage. Asher should be working on getting him set up right now. He'll get into the brokerage and then it'll be game on, and he'll be doing this stuff in the live brokerage. And he'll be able to use Sierra Chart through their order routing, because we support that. And then he'll have the Denali data and he'll be good to go, man. I'm excited for him.
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for running a great firm.
We're doing our best. We're not perfect, but we're always trying to do the right thing and trying to, lead by example and, just treat people the right way. It's weird. It's like in this environment.
That's not the normal thing.
It's not normal. So
no, it's not.
It's weird.
Yeah, really great.
Definitely. Okay, cool. So we'll wrap it up there, guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. Really good turnout. I'm sure everybody's here for Eli because he shared some pretty profound knowledge. And we were hoping, while the stream was going on, you were actually going to take delivery of corn, but it didn't happen.
I know.
So maybe next time.
It didn't happen. Yeah.
All right, cool, man. So we'll go ahead and call it there. Thanks everybody for joining us. Thank you again, Eli, and check out their Discord. We posted it and linked it, so check it out, man. It's there for everybody. Cool.
Thank you.
And with that, we're ending. See you guys.
you.